Now, now for the shit stopper. Urusei Yatsura, the second season. Also, Urusei Yatsura first season, because I stopped watching Urusei Yatsura in, I think, 2003, because I needed to do some big break, and I finished both the first season and second season in the entirety of the year of 2024. I had to basically speed on the entire thing. So it's together they are 46 episodes made by David Production. And yeah, what can I say about this anime? It's I'm gonna probably explain it right now that Urusei Yatsura is, if you're gonna ask me what is my latest favorite series from the latest years I do like really, really much, it is Urusei Yatsura, because even though I did discover them in like mid high school, like in high school to college. No, it was high school. It was basically has now a resurgence, but I started to like Urusei again with a newer eyes, and I did like it a lot. Like it's one of my now favorite 80s series, and basically even if you're looking at the character right now, you see Ataru Moroboshi, who is now one of my favorite series at all. And learning about this new remake did me consider that this was never going to be as good as the original was, because I had some almost like high standard, despite knowing that there was some flaws with the original as well, especially for a later season. But I still think that the best of the original was very high praisable. So I still had some open mind about this remake. But then I learned about how their approach wasn't really going to an adaptation, but doing the best of. And I was wondering how they would actually pull it off. So then when I watched the first episode of this, I was very excited, because I was very excited to see what they would do, because this was now being a UI fan now, basically a Urusei fan, viewing viewers Urusei being fan, or being seen with other Urusei fan as Urusei was being alive. This is like someone who was a fan of Dragon Ball Z watching Super for the like following Super for like the first time, like in continuity for every week. And the first episode was very good. I think the story there was very great. And then episode 3 happened, episode 5 happened, episode 8 happened, then episode like 12, and then finally the nail from the coffin was episode 30, and then 40, and the rest of them just happened. And well, let me just say what. Let me just point out all the good stuff. Beside episode 1, I think that some small stories in isolation was quite good adapted. Especially episode 29, which I think it was done greatly, and it was done with a good care. I do believe that some newer scenes, some original episode or new scenes in old episodes did some good. They did some creative, especially for the animators, and from some, especially for the animators for this regard. Some directors I don't know mostly about, maybe the storyboard is for some episode as well. The voice actor for Ataru I do like. I do like Mendo's Shotoru's actor. I do like Kana Hanazawa. Uh, and there are some good voice actors here, and basically Ayuki again. Lum's voice actor, I'm sort of half-half. I do see her as being new Lum, just doesn't win me over as much. I don't like about Miyoko Siwasha, and I'm mostly neutral about the rest of them. So that's the voice, that's the good part about those. And I do like about the opening and ending of each season. I do like them the most. I think Maiden Eson was, yeah, there was, yeah, Maison Des does some good songs. I do like the visual aspect on every single one of them. I do like her ending for the first season. And that's base. And I do like some visual aspect. I do like some redesign of these characters. I do like how they can make Lum look very adorable and also making her look very mean, which I think is on point. The things I don't like is the problems here are fundamental. And if you're wondering, okay, what do I mean by fundamental? I mean some parts of the core. Because this doesn't feel like it's an adaptation. It doesn't want to be an adaptation. It just wants to be the best of. It basically wants to adapt some. You want to scan some chapters and post them on this episode. Just slap them in there as a storyboard, as almost finished work. Because if you're following the logic and story of this series, it makes almost no sense for what the character sometimes says, even with their own experience. Because some character who's supposed to be having a very bad time and doing all this, suddenly saying, I actually care about this place, it's actually good. It doesn't make sense when how they experience at all. Sometimes it doesn't follow up what to say. It doesn't, sometimes the joke doesn't land as good as it could be, because especially when you have the blueprint as the previous season, some jokes are okay, some are funny, and some just fails horribly in comparison. I'm so tired to hear Love No Love Song over and over again and all its arrangement, which makes me feel that they only watched some first episodes of the first anime and not the rest of them. And it makes false promises in its episodes. It doesn't know how to continue, and it makes confusing statements as well. And it's in the worst part of about all of this is in episode 30. Because I can tell this, never have I seen a comedy or any sort of romance comedy ever commit seppuku on its main couple on screen. And it's not like a literal seppuku doing. It's a figurative seppuku, which I don't know why they even consider doing it. Because when that episode hit and they did decide to do that, and they didn't do anything about it or an elaboration about it in the next episode, I just wanted to go to the producer and the writers and the director saying, okay, can you take away that series from you? You don't seem to be knowing what you are doing here, because do you understand what you have just created or what you have done here? Like, you just basically just destroyed what you did so beautifully in previous episodes. And just like, I don't know, for whatever reason. Which make me so mad. Because this one, Urusei Yatsura, its highest potential is new favorites. It's A tier, S tier, whatever you want to call it. Because not only do you have Lum, who is iconic visually, and also as a character. You have Atomoroboshi, who is a very good comedic foil for Lum, and also is a very interesting character in itself in a romantic relationship, in their romantic pairing. But you also have a strong cast. This is the cast you have over, let me see, if this one has only like almost 52 episodes, the original adaptation of Urusei Yatsura, besides its all moves and OVAs, had 195 episodes. It's that large of a fucking cast. And it's a good reason, because its casts mostly are funny and it's very elaborate as well. Which here it feels it just falls off, because you have limited time to do these characters, especially with the limitation you have given to yourself with this amount of episode. And consider you didn't even consider doing a remake which takes in modern time and want to take place in the same 70s or 80s, you kind of screwed yourself over with the selection you decided here, because they didn't do any rewrites. They just want to adapt the precise from the manga without doing some heavy more alteration they have to do. And it feels that this isn't a problem that is fundamental, that is created by the producer and the head director. which I believe that they shouldn't even approach this situation, considering that this wasn't really telling a story in that, or conceived story. I used to spend so much in time, but then around season 2 ending, it made me a bit bored. Finished, which is still okay. Yeah, the issue here is that when a series like want to throw out their main character for just introducing the concept of time traveling, and they don't like it messes with causality and that much, for no apparent reason, or the reason which I'm unaware of, unless they are telling us in that in that commentary in that Blu-ray, which I wish someone could get and translate. And I just think that they also had very short episode to handle on, because what do you think that this pool demon story? Do you think that story would have affected anything with the characters, or done anything, learn about more of a character, or supported the character and more? Because that could have been replaced with, I don't know, with that shape-shifting dolphin, which could have not only done almost the same thing in bits and parts, but also could have developed more into Atsura and Lum's relationship. Even, for fuck's sake, considerably, the first date Lum and Atsura has isn't existing in this adaptation. That story has now been replaced, or somewhat what we're suspecting of, has been replaced by Atsura basically saying the first date of Lum is basically being jerked to her. Which I don't think that would be in character for him on the first date. And then you have a character who basically would not even appear later on, which serves almost little purpose than just being fan favorite, not fan favorite, but being like pairing materials. Because it feels like unorganized when it comes to these fan favorites, because it feels like they saw a hamburger is the entire series, and people said the meat is the best part, and they only been showing the meat. So instead of eating with the buns and salad and all the dressing, you're now having your fingers in the greasy meat instead. Sure, the meat is fine, but you need like some tissue to take out this greasy fat from your hands, and even from your face. Like, this anime it upsets me so much. It's just, you had this one shot, and they kind of blew it. Even in the merch, it doesn't make sense. Like they don't want to do much with Atsura instead. They don't want to do any fun. They don't want to transform into a girl or a werewolf, or like to a devil man like with wings. They don't want to do any more fun with that. They sort of like have it very constrained. Because that's why I think it would have been better if it was been a remake. Then they could have their own vision, write it on and go along. Because this feels like it's on autopilot from what they have just been scanning. Like it's the best moments when they have for each series, or like when they have the individual episode, especially for when Lum turns to a cow, or when Atsura misses Lum. That is one of those good moments that I think should be praiseworthy. But the problem is too fundamental with this. I'm gonna act as those Chainsaw Man fans, some specific Chainsaw Man fans that wanted a new remake. I'm asking this to send back to the factory. Because goddamn, you could have done so much more. Because consider the fact like this. This might be a hot take for me, but when it comes to the early fandom, like in the 80s or 70s, Urusei Yatsura is sitting next to Gundam, Yamamoto, and Gundam, Yamamoto, Macross, and even Lupin. Like, it's one of those big series that you could do so much about, and had so much impact on the nerd culture and the doujin scene specifically. And seeing that Urusei Yatsura have been neglected for so many years, and when this new adaptation comes out, they don't even do something that isn't good, or doing so much paying much attention to, or doing some good of it. Seeing end up in a state like this, it's just very sad. Which even make me sad that the Dark Dimension arc didn't even have to do anything about it, despite all its problem it has.